see if all this works. Buenos dias. Okay. You know, if I were going to go, what I want you to think about as we get started, when I was thinking about this text and just reading through Luke, just keep in mind the simplicity. Because I was doing some review on just reading some scholarly stuff, because I like to think of myself maybe someday being a theologian. No, that's not true. But as I was looking at this text, there's just so much stuff that the academic world talks about. And when I read this text, it is just so simple. And I hope as you read through the text, or whether you're reading Luke or wherever you're reading, think simplicity. We do know that the translators, when we're looking at some of the ancient documents that we have and we translate, we can kind of tell, or those that do this work can kind of tell what's been added or how it may be elaborated on, because sometimes the scribes would write in the margins and they would add to it like a little interpretation. And sometimes those got woven back into some of the ancient documents. But you can always tell because they're always trying to explain something that they think is difficult. Okay? And so sometimes I think when we read the text that we get hung up on things that are really, if we just think simplicity, can go a long way with our understanding. This particular text in Luke chapter 8, if I had to give a commentary on the text, it would be John, the Gospel of John 1 and following. And I'll just read that, and just as you think about the light and the lamp and what Jesus does here, now remember, as you look at this text, that Jesus is showing us the kingdom of God in a way that the hearers had never heard before. He is not attempting to, remember the wineskin. You don't put new wine in old wineskins. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as we're kind of going through this. He's revealing things about the kingdom of God that people have not heard before, and they're because they haven't heard them before, they're kind of difficult. Okay? But if I were given a commentary of this particular text, I would do this. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through Him, and apart from Him, nothing came into being that has come into being. In Him was life, and the life that was light to men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. That's pretty much what Luke is telling us. There was a light, a true light, which coming into the world enlightens every man. He was in the world, and the world was made through Him, and the world did not know Him. He came to His own, and those who were His own did not receive Him. But as many as received Him, to them He gave the right to become children of God, even to those who believe in His name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. That's a powerful text. Powerful text. This would be one that if I didn't try, I would memorize this text. This could be one of those things that if you're having a conversation where if you're just letting this run through your head as you're talking with someone, Just let that sink in. That is huge. And we'll come back to that. The light. When we think about simplicity, just imagine what Jesus, because Jesus starts out and he goes, look, let's just think about this. Nobody gets a light. People don't do this. If you could just imagine Jesus explaining it. Look, guys, nobody gets a light and puts it in a room and then puts a cover over it. So don't do what nobody does. I mean, I get excited about just imagine him going, look, Galon, don't do what nobody does, okay? You don't do that. This is a picture. I had the privilege of making several trips to Panama. This is in a little town called El Valle. And we were teaching, and it was obviously it was at night. And we were talking and visiting, and all of a sudden the power goes out. And so in El Valle, when the lights are out, it's dark. I mean, you could hardly, when we were standing there, you could hardly see the hand in front of your face. It was so dark. And so people started scrambling. This happens a lot. It happened a lot when I was in Brazil too. But this happened 2 or 3 times while we were there. So they were kind of prepared. So some of the kids ran and grabbed this light that you see, and they put it in the center between every one of us. Now imagine, okay, this would be crazy, okay? But we get the light and we put it in the center, and then we go over there and we put something over the top of it so you can't see it. Does that make any sense? No. And so Jesus is saying, look, just think about this. Just think about it. No one, after lighting a lamp, covers it up. You just don't do that. Remember this? Does everybody see the cow? Where did your eyes go when that screen popped up? Did you have to really look hard for the cow? No. Because once it's been revealed, you'll always see it. Okay? Once the light has shone on it, you will always see it. Do you see the cow? Okay. We have to show the cow. Let me pull this out. Here's the ears. Here's the nose. And here's the eyes. You see that? If you look right here. Got it? Next time when this pops up, you'll go, there's the cow. Does everybody over here see it? You don't see it. Okay. Here's the ear. Boy, my hand's shaking. The ear, the eyes, the nose. Here's his nostrils. See it? Got it now? Okay. It's going to come back, so I want everybody to pass the test. But in many ways, for me, this is like seeing the kingdom of God, because every time I see it, I see more and more detail. Okay? And such is the kingdom of God. As we move and as we live in the kingdom of God, because it is present, it's here. It's not fully realized, it's to come, the full realization, but it's here, and as we live in it, as we experience it, more and more detail comes to light. And we reveal it. You know, Jesus is talking about this light. For nothing is hidden that will not become evident, nor anything secret that will not become known and come to the light. And come to light. You'll see it. But part of this, and we're going to get here, is we have to practice it. We have to experience it. Because that's what really makes the neural pathways. It's the experience. It is investing in it that's so important. And you get more and more detail. See, now I even look at everybody sees the fence. Okay? So when you look at it, as we kind of move through this, you'll see more and more detail, and it won't be hidden. What do you see here? The cow. No. The cow. This is not the cow. But now, I could have used, the reason I chose this picture is because this is really like me, okay? When I'm trying, my kids will always tell me that I have a teaching voice. I don't think I have a teaching voice. But usually when my teaching voice comes on, that's the kind of expression that I get. You know, as parents, and we're raising kids, I don't know, it comes built in, but we have the lectures that we give. And when we start lecturing, that's the kind of look. Okay? Be careful how you listen. Verse 18, so take care how you listen. For whoever has, to him more shall be given, and who does not have, even what he thinks he has shall be taken away. Be careful how you listen. Now Luke is jumping back to the sower. Remember the sower? It's right before this. Look at what it says earlier, and I'll let you make those connections, okay? You can go back and read through the text. But if you look at when Jesus is explaining the parable, verse 12, he said, and those beside the road are those who have heard, okay? Then those that are on the rocks, verse 13, he said, and those on the rocky soil are those that when they hear... See, sometimes I think we look like she does when we're hearing. And I enjoyed the comments that were made earlier about distraction, paying attention, being focused. Living in the kingdom and experiencing the kingdom of God is not an easy thing because there are so many distractions, so many other things, so many other options. Verse 14. And the seed which fell among the thorns are those ones who have heard, and as they go on their way, they are choked with worries and riches and pleasures of this life and bring no fruit to maturity. Later on in Luke chapter 10, along at about verse 38, Luke's going to share a story about Martha. Do you know Martha? One of the first thoughts when you're trying to make a change or you're thinking about how you're going to do something or what things are important, just remember Martha. You know the story? Martha and Mary, they're entertaining Jesus. You know, y'all do that. You know the story? Okay. So, and Mary gets upset, and why does Martha gets upset. Why does Martha get upset? Because Mary's not helping. We got to have the house clean. Small group is coming. Now, don't tell me y'all haven't had those conversations. I've been doing this a while. Sharon and I have them every time we have a small group. Well, we got to get the house clean. We got to do this. We have to do that. And what does Jesus tell Martha? He says, Martha, Martha. So just plug that in, okay? Let that be a cue. Martha, Martha. Mary's chosen the good stuff. Always choose the good stuff. Pay attention to how we listen. Then we have the good soil. It said, and the seed in the good ground are those ones who have heard the word in an honest and good heart and hold fast to it and bear fruit with perseverance. It's a hard road. It's not an easy road. That's why we need each other. We need each other to help each other be the light, to be the radiance, to show the radiance of God. Remember, we've said that transformation, when we want transformation, two things have to happen, and Luke is laying these out for us. He says in Romans chapter 12 in verse 1, 2, and 3 there, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We have to change how we think. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 18, we must see the glory of God. We have to see the radiance of God. We have to see what God is doing. We have to help each other point it out, talk about it. Make it a part of your everyday conversation. That's letting the light shine. One of the things that I think has kind of got us distracted, at least I'll throw this out here, is, and I'm not being critical of service, okay? And we'll talk about service projects. Living in the kingdom of God does not have any service project. It's what we do, but we do it, it's not a project like Home Depot. Home Depot does a lot of good stuff, don't they? They contribute to Habitat for Humanity, they gather people together. They do exactly what many religious groups do. Except one thing. Reveal the glory of God. So if we go and get busy, we can get real busy doing service project, and if we're not letting our light shine, revealing the glory of God, helping people see the kingdom of God, and then walking with them, helping them live in it through perseverance. That's what he's talking about. We don't put a light in the middle of a room and cover it up. We just don't do that. Crazy. What do you think about that? Now, elephants can swim. Okay, just in case you're going, gosh, that's not a good picture. But I don't think they do it this way. You see, living in the kingdom of God is like that. It's jumping. It's doing things that are very counterintuitive. So here's your challenge. When Jesus tells, the crowd's looking for Jesus, my mother and my brothers are those who hear the word and do it. Not just hear it, do it. It's hard. It's tough. But here's your challenge. Oh, let me back up just out of time. This was a common practice. It was common, just like we talk about our church family. What's interesting about this particular text is that Jesus says that these people are more important than his family. He's placing them at an equal level with his. He's not saying you don't love your mom and dad. Okay? It's not what he's talking about. But he is putting them at an even keel, an even plane. Okay? That was unheard of in his time. This would have been scandalous. But it's the kingdom of God. Here's the challenge. I want you to pick whatever growth area that you have, okay? Whatever growth area in your life that you want to change, that you want to grow in. Okay? This is the doing. Establish it. See yourself doing it. Okay? It may be something that you've been working on for a long time. See yourself do it. Establish it. Picture it. Picture yourself. I remember the first time I sat down and studied with somebody on my own, and I had my notes. I had them all hidden there because I wanted them to think that I knew the Bible. So I didn't let them see that I was really just doing a chain reference in my Bible. But you picture yourself doing it. I pictured myself sitting down when I finally decided I wanted to really do this. I was scared to death. But picture yourself doing it. Attach an emotion to it. I knew that if the person that I was studying with decided to put on Christ in baptism, how great that was going to be, because I wanted them to experience what I had experienced. So you picture it, you attach emotion to it, and then you grow into it. You practice it. But we have to be about the doing. So be careful how we listen. Let's listen with honest and pure hearts. As we read and as we hear the voice of Jesus, I've told you I do mostly. Sharon says that I am a ear reader because I listen to things, because reading is hard for me, being dyslexic. And also, the distraction thing. If I start reading, because it's so much work, my head goes everywhere but where it's supposed to, and I can't really get anything out of the text. So I listen to it. So when you're reading the text, think simplicity, but pick your growth area. Just one. Just pick your growth area. Establish it, picture it, attach emotion to it, practice it, grow into it. Okay? I don't know where you are today, what your needs are, but you do. And God knows. This is a good church family. Great leaders here. I'm really looking forward, because when I was here before I left for Brazil, all of this was just full. I'm longing for that day. So let's let the light shine. Whatever needs you have, would you come as we stand and sing?
We praise thee, O God, for the Son